ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः 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 12th verse onwards. Together. Neyam yattat pravakshami yajñātvāmrutamashnuते anādimat param brahma na sattannāsaducchate sarvatah pānipadam tat sarvatah shishiro-mukham sarvatah shrutimaloke sarvamāvrutya tishtati सर्वेन्द्रियगुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रियविवर्जितम् असक्तं सर्वभृच्चैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरं चरमेव च सूक्ष्मत्वात्तदविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत् अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तमिव च स्थितं भूतभर्तृ च तज्ज्ञेयं ग्रसिष्णुप्रभविष्णु च. Having explained the topic of kshetra, having explained the topic of jnanam, Bhagavan starts explaining the topic, what is jneyam. What is it that should be known? He said kshetrajna, essential nature of kshetrajna is what we have to know. The technique used here is adhyaropa apavada. More we get clarity, conviction in this technique, it will help us in this entire chapter. After these topics, Bhagavan will take up the topic of Prakriti and Purusha. Even there he will use this technique of adhyaropa apavada. What is adhyaropa? Consciousness pointed out with the help of conditionings. Pointing out conditioned consciousness is adhyaropa. Because conditionings are unreal, they can be removed. So removing that conditioning and leaving only pure consciousness, that is called as apavada. So if you look at 14th verse onwards, what we saw in the last session, this is the technique which is used. Sarvendriya gunabhasam. This technique is so important when we sit down for meditation, when they tell us, shift attention to the truth. Now, truth is just a word. If everybody understands truth in different ways, where will we shift attention to? Different things. What is the indicator of truth is pointed out in these verses. So before I go to unconditioned consciousness, my first step should be Sarvendriya Gunabhasam. Truth is that which enlivens my sense organs. Brahman is that because of which sense organs are able to function. It makes itself known through the functions of sense organs. Then does that truth have sense organs? He says no. Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. Once you have seen the truth, remove the conditioning. Means meditate in this way that I, as pure consciousness, am devoid of sense organ. But how will you reach there? Through sense organ. Asaktam sarvabhrutchaiva. By itself it is unattached. Doesn't get affected by any thought. But it is sarvabhrut. It is the nourisher of everything, including thoughts. Nourisher is not by giving something. Nourisher is by lending its existence. So whenever I see any object which is existing, I should see name and form plus existence. The existence of chair doesn't belong to chair. What does existence of chair, where does it belong to? To me. Consciousness is me, so the existence in that chair is lent by this consciousness. Then the second step is to remove the conditioning. How did you bring that chair inside? First take the chair. Chair is known through a thought. That thought is enlivened by consciousness. The medium in between the outer object and consciousness is thought. Ramana Maharshiji's technique. From outer world, boil it down to thoughts. Manomayam idam jagat. Manomayam tad bhuvanam vadamaha. Once you come to thoughts, that's a familiar territory. How to go from thought to consciousness, we are very familiar. But if somebody says, you are lending existence to this tree, then we get confused. I am here, tree is there. How do I lend existence to tree? He says, I not as this body. I not as this mind. I as pure consciousness. Asaktam sarvabhrutchaiva nirgunam gunabhoktrucha. It experiences all gunas, but by itself it is nirguna. Nirgunam gunabhoktrucha. Then 15th verse was Bahirantascha bhutanam. It is present inside and outside. Now inside and outside what? Whenever you use the word inside and outside, there has to be a boundary. Shankaracharya said, the wonderful boundary that we have drawn is this body. So it's present inside and it is present outside. Acharam charam evacha. It pervades inert objects, acharam, and it pervades sentient beings. Or you can take this as unmoving and moving. Both of them. Oh, it pervades everything. It is inside and outside. Then it should be very easily known. If it is so popular, Bhagavan says, Sukshmatva tadavidneyam. Although it pervades all, it is not easy to comprehend. Why? Because it is Sukshma. Sukshma here means it is not an object of sense organ. Therefore, it is avidneyam. Avidneyam here refers to not known through sense organs. We should not translate avidneyam as it cannot be known. Then why are we studying? Why does anybody seek moksha? If it cannot be known, then why even go after it? It cannot be known as an object. Sukshmatvat tadavidneyam durastham chantike chatata. To the unprepared mind, it is always far. To the one who is not turning within, this truth is very far. And our Puranas don't help us much here. They say there is Swarga Loka, there is Brahma Loka, some Loka there, some Loka here. So he feels it is even further. But to the prepared mind, Anti Kecha Tata. He recognizes it as his own self. It is ever attained. It was never different from us to begin with. Durastham Chantikecha Tata. Next indicator, 16th verse we saw, Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu. Vibhaktam eva chastitam. In different beings, it appears different. But in essence, it is undivided. Means, in 100 people, it appears as though there are 100 sakshis. And this notion is very difficult to get over. We are okay in saying consciousness is infinite. But the moment we see conditioning, we feel there is individual consciousness. So the way that we can meditate here is, I, the pure consciousness, just the way I illumine this conditioning, it is the same way in which I illumine all conditionings. So Deva Atma and Rakshasa Atma, they are one and the same. We must have heard that statement, hate the sin, not the sinner. Criticize the sin, not the sinner. The root of it comes from this understanding that the essence of Ravana is also the same Paramatma. And essence of Hanumanji is the same Paramatma. But we will bow down only to Hanumanji, not to Ravana. But not have hatred towards either. Of course, Hanumanji we don't need to, but even Ravana, there is no hatred. This statement that this witness which is illumining my mind illumines all minds. It becomes more precise when you hear certain statements. You have seen this before, but I'll say it again, just as a refresher. If you say, I have witnessed Ramayana, true or false? As consciousness, it is true. One who was illumining Lakshmanji's intellect was not different consciousness than which is illumining this intellect. Details of what happened there was known through a specific antakarana. Just like right now, what is happening in India? Who is illumining? Same consciousness. But I don't know the details. To know the details, I need that antakarana. I am witnessing Brahmaloka. True or false? True statement. Because illuminator of Brahmaji's intellect is the same illuminator of this intellect. These are innocent examples we can take. Ramayana, Brahmaji. What we have to meditate more upon is, in this world, whoever might be there, all conditionings are enlivened by one consciousness. That consciousness I am. That is the meaning of avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam eva chastitam. Bhuta Bhartru. That same consciousness with the conditioning of nourishing gets the title Bharta. Bharta, another meaning is, another word is Bhagwan Vishnu. Remember, whose title is this? Title of consciousness. Why did consciousness get another title? Why not Shuddha Chaitanya? Because the conditioning of nourishing, the gunas of Maya have come in proximity of that consciousness. When you look both of them together, look at both of them together, with with Rajoguna Pradhana Upadhi, consciousness gets the title Bharta. Then Grasishnu, from the standpoint of conditioning of destruction, same consciousness gets the title Grasishnu, Bhagwan Shiva. And Prabha Vishnu. Here Prabha Vishnu doesn't mean Lord Vishnu. Prabha Vishnu means Brahmaji, the one who brings about the creation. That same consciousness with the title of Sattva Guna gets the name Brahma. How does that verse go? Bahula Rajase, Shiva Mahimna. Bahula Rajase Vishvotpattau Bhavaya Namo Namaha. Prabha Hare Haraya Namo Namaha. Janasukha Krute Sattvodriktau Mrudaya Namo Namaha. Pramahasi Pade Nistraigунye Shivaya Namo Namaha. Nistraigунye, devoid of three gunas, you are that pure consciousness, Shiva. Bahula Rajase, when Rajoguna becomes Pradhana, you are called Vishnu. There it is said from the standpoint of creation, but you can take it both ways. For creation also you need creative power. Creative power is Sattva Guna. Nourishing power is Rajoguna. Destructive power is Tamoguna. So this point we have to remember. In Bhagavad Geeta, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are names of Chaitanya. They are not three different people fighting against each other. Who is superior? You see, this is one Chaitanya through three conditionings getting three different names. Now, Bhagwan said, this truth is avidneyam, sukshmatvat tadavidneyam. But Bhagwan, we are on this path. How are we supposed to know it? Bhagwan said, I already told you, but I'll tell you one more indicator. Look at the 17th verse. Jyotishamapi tad jyotihi tamasah paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hrudi sarvasya vishtitam. Jyotishamapi tad jyotihi tamasah paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hrudi sarvasya vishtitam. Jyotisham api tad jyotihi. It is a light of all lights. Tamasah paramuchyate. Literal meaning is it is beyond darkness. But what it means is it is beyond ignorance, untouched by ignorance. Tamasah paramuchyate. Jnanam. Jnanam means whatever qualities were mentioned. Amanitvam, madambitvam, those qualities. Jnanam. Jneyam. What is Jneyam? Kshetrajna Lakshanam. What was called as Kshetrajna, what is being described right now. And Jnanagamyam. What is it that is attained through knowledge? Jnanagamyam means attained through knowledge. Moksha. Jnanagamyam means result of knowledge. See, if we have lot of knowledge of Atma, lot of knowledge of Vedanta, but our bottom line is, I am still sorrowful. Means first I was ignorant and sorrowful. Now I am knowledgeable and sorrowful. Bhagavan says no. Jnanagamyam. We should see the result of this knowledge. These three things, if somebody walks on the spiritual path sincerely, these three things will reside in their heart. Hrudi sarvasya vishtitam. Values in the form of jnanam, knowledge of the truth, jnayam, and the combination of values and knowledge has to bring jnanagamyam, results of knowledge, which is moksha. Some commentators emphasize on the word sarvasya. Sarvasya means what? These things can be manifested in everybody's heart. He says you cannot say consciousness lives only in the heart of Indian or only in the heart of saints. He says it lives in everybody's heart. Are we willing to manifest it? Amanitvam adambitvam starts from there. Are we willing to pay the price for this? Now look at the first quarter. It is the most important quarter in this verse. Jyotisham api tajyotihi. This point was elaborately discussed in Mundaka. What was the definition of Jyotihi? Mundaka. That which doesn't need another light to become known. Even worldly light, this is the definition. Why do we call a lamp as Jyoti? Because to know the lamp, you don't need another lamp. Sun is called Jyoti because in sunlight, lot of other things are known. But to know the sun, we don't need another light. So this ability to reveal, one ability goes with physical light. Second ability to reveal goes with sense organs. Look at the power of sense organs. If the light of eyes are not there, physical light cannot be established. So which light proves which light? Does physical light prove the eyes of the light, light of the eyes? Or does the light of the eye prove physical light? First or second? You can also say both. If there is no outside light, can you know that eyes have the light to illumine? If you go to a dark room, pitch dark, Krishnalaya, if you go, there is no moon, Amavasya day, no stars, thick clouds are there. You don't even know what is in front. In one commentator, he writes, darkness in Vedanta is Sakshi Bhasya. Darkness in Vedanta is illumined by Sakshi. Because the darkness you see with your eyes open and the darkness you see with your eyes closed, there is no difference. So you can very well say the light outside establishes the light of the eyes. And the light of the eyes, they are needed to establish outer light. They are mutually dependent. Another light goes with mind. The definition of light You can also point to mind. Why? Because mind has the ability to illumine. The ability of sense organs going up and down. Who illumines that? Not the object. The one illumining the sense organ is the mind. This is Drigdrishya Viveka. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Druk. Tad Drishyam Draktumahasam. These are all lights. Worldly light. Worldly light means sunlight. Physical light outside. Then the light of the eyes. Light of the mind. Compared to all these lights, there is one light which is independent. That is the light of consciousness. But from the point you come beyond sense organ, remove the notion of physical light. When we say light of consciousness, it is not some shining object. Light of consciousness means its ability to know, ability to reveal. It is not borrowing that ability from anything else. Mind, sense organs, they borrow it from consciousness. So in the light of consciousness, mind functions, sense organs function, and this world becomes illumined. This is where Gurudev's quote is there. Somebody was holding an umbrella and it was not in the right direction. Sunlight was falling on his eyes. And somebody tells the person holding, hold it properly. And Gurudev says, it is this light which makes that light shine. Means in the light of consciousness alone, sunlight is recognized. If you are comfortable with Vedanta, you can make another statement. It is this consciousness alone which lends the ability to illumine to the sun. Slightly different, huh? It is because of this consciousness alone, sun gets its ability to illumine. Means existence of sun depends upon consciousness. That is the meaning of Jyotisham api tad jyotihi. See here the example of ice is given, or we took the example of ice. Remember, just like we have Netra Jyoti, we also have Karana Jyoti, where no physical light is involved. Because sometimes we get too stuck with this concept of physical light. To illumine sound, do we need physical light? No, but Karana Jyoti is needed. Light of the ear is needed. Okay, then the second line was Jnanam Neyam Jnana Kamyam. We saw what is Jnanam, Amanitvam, etc. How does it come? Bhagavan says, all these qualities in full measure is really seen in Bhagavan. When we say Bhaga, means good fortune, all good qualities. The one who has all good fortune is Bhagavan. So where will you see the epitome of Amanitvam? So read Ramcharitmanas and look at the speech of Bhagavan Rama. Even if he talks to Ayodhyavasis, tribal people, he says that is true Amanitvam. So how will a sadhaka get those qualities? By meditating upon the Lord. One who has these qualities, the one who meditates upon them, upon Bhagavan, gets few drops from this ocean. Neyam and jnana kamyam. Now in 18th verse, Bhagavan summarizes whatever he has taught so far. It's a very nice verse. He is as though writing an essay on these topics, and precisely five verses he's using to describe each topic. You see what he says. Iti kshetram tatha jñānam neyam choktam samasatah madbhakta etadvijñāya madbhāvāyopapadyate. Iti kshetram tatha jñānam neyam choktam samasatah madbhakta etadvijñāya madbhāvāyopapadyate. Iti kshetram tatha jñānam neyam choktam samasatah. Samasata means in brief. In total of 12 verses, I have given you the essence of Vedas. Bhagavan, you gave me essence of Vedas. What were the subtopics? He says one topic, subtopic was kshetram. What is meant by the field? Tatha jñānam. What are the values we should have in life? And neyam. What is that truth which should be realized? Now, where did he speak about all these topics? You can mark these verses. We can chant them also together. That way it stays with us. First topic he said is kshetram. Where did he talk about kshetram? Verse number 5 and 6. You can flip your pages and just note. Verse 5 and 6, precise description of kshetram. Can we chant it? Mahabhutanyahankarah buddhiravyaktameva cha indriyani dashaikam cha panchachendriya gocharaha ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sanghataschetana etat kshetram samasena savikaramudafrutam. Verse number 5 spoke about 24 principles of creation. Verse number 6 spoke about what are the effects in transaction, parinama in vyavahara. So in 2 verses, kshetra is described. Then Bhagavan said, I spoke about jnanam. Where did he speak about jnanam? Verse number 7 through 11. He says, in 5 verses, I have elaborated different values that we should have in our life. Can we chant them together? 7 through 11. Amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham sthairyam vinigrahah indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankarameva cha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam asaktiranabhishvangah putradara gruhadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu mai chananya yogena bhaktiravyabhicharini viviktadesha sevitvam aratirjana samsadi adhyatmajñāna nityatvam tattvajñānārtha-darshanam etadjñānamiti proktam ajñānam yadatonyatha. Starting from amanitvam, last value was tattvajñānārtha-darshanam. Means in our Sanatan Dharma, living a pious life, cultivating values, they have even a higher goal. Because for somebody, living that life itself could be the goal. Tattvajñānārtha darshanam means we need these values such that we can see a result of knowledge in our life. Self-knowledge should settle down. That will be brought about by these values. Sometimes you might also feel there are so many things which are taught in our scriptures. Do sadhana, do this, do that. Karma yoga is there, upasana is there. Then they say do pujanam, japa, dhyanam. Tattva jnanartha darshanam reminds us all these pursuits are only for one purpose. Through sadhana, develop a beautiful mind, and through knowledge, transcend the mind. So we need not feel overwhelmed by the number of sadhanas. Here also 20 values, somebody might feel that. Which value should I start with? If you start with any value, the rest of them will follow. But the bottom line is, mind should become beautiful. Bhagavan said, this I explained in the topic of jnanam. Then I also explained what is jnayam. It's all sequential. 5 and 6, 7 through 11, then 12 through 16. 5 verses I have explained what is the supreme most truth. Bhagavan says, Sarvopanishado Gavaha, Dogda Gopalanandana. Different Upanishads are the cows, and the milk is in the form of Bhagavad Geeta. So these 5 verses are a summary of different indicators of truth in several Upanishads. You see how it is. Together we will chant 12th through 16th verse. Neyam yattat pravakshyami yajñātvāmrutam anādimat param brahma nasattanna saduchyate sarvatah pānipadam tate sarvatokshishiro mukham sarvatah shrutimaloke sarvamāvrutya tishtati sarvendriya gunābhāsam sarvendriya vivarjitam asaktam sarvabhruchaiva nirgunam gunabhoktrucha bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charamevacha sukshmatva tadavidneyam durastham chantike cha tat avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiva cha sthitam bhuta bhartru cha tadneyam grasishnu prabha vishnu cha jyotishamapi tajyotihi tamasah paramuchyate jnanam neyam jnanagamyam hrudi sarvasya vishthitam. 17th verse until 17th verse. So in roughly 12 to 13 verses, Bhagavan says this is the essence of entire Vedas. So if we are able to chant 13th chapter and pay close attention to these verses, then entire Vedartha is presenting before us. Shankaracharya has written a very beautiful commentary on this. I'll just read the key points. Etavan sarvaha hi Vedarthaha Geetarthascha. These 12 verses, 13 verses are the essence of Vedas. This is the essence of entire Bhagavad Gita. Geetarthascha upasamhrutya uktaha. Having concluded that, Bhagavan is going to speak. One classification of Bhagavad Gita that we do is 6 and 6 chapters. First 6 we say Tvam-pada, next 6 is Tat-pada, last one is Asi. Another classification is first 6, second 6, and by 13th chapter, teaching is done. 13th chapter, or you can extend it at the most to 15th chapter. Again, Bhagavan recaps all these points and says this is the main teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Then there are some auxiliary topics which he did not elaborate. Daivi Sampatti, Asuri Sampatti, 3 types of Shraddha. different types of sattva, rajas, tamas, and their expressions. Those are taken up in 16, 17, and 18 chapter. And Shankaracharya is drawing our attention to the importance of these 13 verses. This is the essence of entire Bhagavad Gita. Asmin samyak darshane kaha adhikriyate. In getting this samyak darshan, who is the fit student? He says the second line of the 18th verse. What is the second line of 18th verse? Madbhaktah etad vijñāya. Says, my devotee will come to know this. Madbhaktah etad vijñāya madbhavaya upapadyate. And he will come to attain my being. Bhagavan Krishna is a most compassionate teacher. On one hand, he will talk in such a language which is not easy to understand. Sarvatah panipadam tata, sarvatah shishirormukam. All those words he will use. Later on, one verse will come, even if somebody did not get any of these things. But if they continue listening with faith, they will also cross over. He says, Madbhaktah etad vijñāya. One who is devoted to me and listens with faith, that sadhaka also will cross over. Now, what is the meaning of Madbhaktah? Shankaracharya says, Madbhaktah mai ishvare sarvajne paramagurau vasudeve samarpita sarvatma bhavaha. Means the one who has understood. This consciousness alone is being indicated by different words. Consciousness alone is called as world. Consciousness alone is appearing as Ishvara. Consciousness alone is appearing as Guru also. Madbhaktah mai Ishvare sarvajne paramagurav Vasudeve samarpita sarvatma bhava. One who is surrendered to this truth, that person will attain me. Yat pashyati shrunoti sprushati. Whatever he sees, whatever he hears, whatever he touches. Sarvam eva Bhagavan Vasudevaha. He doesn't see them as objects. He sees them as the Lord. Iti evam graha avishta buddhihi. One in whose mind this buddhi is very firm. That wherever he sees anatma, there he can distinctly recognize atma. This is his firm understanding. That person is called Madbhaktah. Madbhaktah saha etat yathoktam samyak darshanam vijñāya. So according to Shankaracharya ji, what is samyak darshanam? Whenever we see world, if we can recognize consciousness, if we can remember consciousness, and understand this world is nothing but expression of consciousness. He says that is called as vijñānam. You remember the three words? Ajñānam, jñānam, vijñānam. Knowing too many things, ajñānam. Knowing that one truth, jñānam. While seeing many things, understanding them to be an expression of that one truth, vijñānam. Let's look at the gold example. Seeing only ornaments, ajñānam. Knowing that all ornaments are nothing but gold, jñānam. While seeing ornaments, paying attention to gold. Seeing beyond that name and form, shifting attention to gold, that is vijñānam. He says, Samyak darshanam vijñāya, having gained that samyak darshanam, mad bhavaya, mama bhavaha mad bhavaha, paramatma bhavaha, tasmai upapadyate moksham gacchati. He comes to attain self-abidance. There is no location he is pointing out here. Gacchati is not a destination. It is one's own true nature from which we have drifted away. Gacchati is not Gacchati outside. Gacchati is coming back to our true nature, which was never lost. When Bhagavan says devotee should start feeling love for the truth. Sweeter way to say it is devotee should start feeling love for God. And one commentator points out, verbally many people say, Bhagavan is very dear to me. But he says deep inside, world still looks dear. So mad bhavaya, mad bhaktah, what Bhagavan is pointing out is, he says he wants God, and inside also he feels he wants only God. That person will reach me. Now in 5 verses, Bhagavan explained what is jnanam. 5.5 verses he explained what is jneyam. 2 verses he explained what is kshetram. Now in another 5 verses, he is going to explain what is prakriti and purusha. But the good news is, he says, Arjuna, I don't have to explain again. Because whatever I explained as kshetra is called as prakriti. And what I explained as kshetrajna is called purusha. They are not different things, it is the same thing. This is a different topic, so I think we will start not next week, not next weekend, but the weekend after. Prakriti and Purusha. Next weekend we'll have Ramcharitmanas Parayanam, so we will not have our Bhagavad Geeta 13 chapter class. Next weekend only, right? No? Oh, the weekend after. Then we are having our class. Next. Okay, I take it back. Some reason I got the dates confused. Correct. 29th we have. 5th we won't have because of Parayanam. See how helpful it is to have audience in person. If it was my online class before, I would have confidently said things. Okay, next session we'll see if we can do all the 5 verses together, how much ever we can. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.